Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is episode 10, special episode 10 of the Payne Report. And you all know the mumbo jumbo. You know where to find me out on Twitter. You know where to find me out on Instagram. Different bit of a shake-up today. Not talking about football. I never talked about basketball anyways. And just want to say I have a special guest. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure.
Right.
My name is Tess Losacker. I'm from Germany, and I run track.
Yeah, so a little bit different pod today. You're technically my first interview guest. So I have had other guests on before, but they were kind of co-hosts. So this is an interview setting, a little bit different flow than what we're used to. So, how do you feel to be the first official guest?
I'm excited. I've never done this before.
Okay, so you said you run track, right?
Yeah.
Track. Any other athletics in terms of track and field?
I've done gymnastics for quite a while, but when I came to the U.S. to get a scholarship, I just focused on track and basically retired from gymnastics.
Gotcha. Okay, so you say you're from Germany. Let's start out with that. So you're from Germany. How is it like going up into that system and sort of running? Is it like a different style than what it is in the U.S. in terms of coaching-wise, or generally the same?
It's very different in terms of you don't really have high school sports. Unless you go to a special school that's focused on sports, which I didn't. I had the opportunity to, but my parents decided not to. So I never went to a special track or athletics school. I just went to a normal school, and we did have a track club, but we didn't really have normal practice, so I just did it in a club, and then you compete for the club. But it's I wish we would have had sort of a system like the US. We didn't have an own track, we didn't have a gym or anything like that. So the system here is, in high school at least, is way more focused on athletics and provides you with way better opportunities than what we have.
All right. Didn't quite know that though. In terms of other education programs in other countries, but I think that's a little bit different than what we see in the US. Like you said, we have teams in almost anything in high school athletics here in the U.S. I mean, you name a team, they probably got it. I mean, there's probably a team for underwater basket weaving at this point. Literally.
That's so cool, though. You have so many options. We really don't.
Yeah. The only time where it gets turned into a club sport or where they combine it with multiple schools if it's not very popular. So, my high school, they did that with hockey. So what they did, all three schools in our district, we combined and formed one hockey team. Mm-hmm. Well, at least that's what they did for girls. I'm not sure what they did for guys. I think it was two schools that combined because one school had enough for it was weird. But that's I think that's pretty different than what we see here in the U.S. and a lot of people don't think about. So, said grew up in Germany, right?
Yep.
So when did you start competing?
I started competing when I was 9 or 10, I think. It was in elementary school. So yeah, third grade, I think, just because we had a sort of a track team not really a track team for the school, but the school would take a couple of quote unquote talented kids and put them in these state meets, and I did really well in the normal PE classes where we sometimes did track. So my sports teacher was just oh yeah, let's just send her there, and I did really well. So that's kind of how it started.
All right, so that's how you started. So when did you first compete in your first official I guess meet, you would call it, right?
Oh my god, that's 17 years ago. Oh god, the first meet that I remember very prominently was a district meet, I guess. We have a bit of a different city layout than here, but it was a district meet, I think, and I competed in the 50 meter sprint, and I finished second, and I got a little trophy, and I was the happiest I've ever been in my life.
That's awesome.
Very proud.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you've been competing since you're 10, 9?
Yeah, so 8 to 10, something like that.
So good 15, 17 years now.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Props to you for running for that long.
Thank you. Yeah.
I started running myself just 4 years ago, and I was like, why am I putting myself through this torture?
Yeah, it's I had way too much energy as a kid, so it was a good way to get out my energy, and I just loved the competitive aspect, and you gotta have a passion for it. If you don't, you're not gonna go far. You're not gonna continue if you don't have the support or the passion.
Gotcha. That brings me to my next point, actually. What got you like in towards that running, but also like what do you love most about it and what do you hate most about it?
Oh, so much. No, I don't really. So my parents put me in gymnastics when I was like 5. So I started with gymnastics, and then I think it was like my sports teachers who just saw that I have a really I have good speed and good endurance for running, and we had mandatory meets in track in summer for for like everyone in school who had to compete, and unless you have like a disability waiver or something, and so I did really well in those, and I don't know, I've always been really competitive, so I guess that's when I started kind of being sort of being more competitive and thinking about getting into track.
All right. So what do you love most about just running, and what do you don't like about it?
I love most about it that I feel completely free when I do it. Like, it's kind of a good way to get out of your thoughts, and I love the rhythm of it, and I love the excitement. I don't think there's anything like it than if you watch a relay. Like, I don't think there's any feeling like it ever. It's, your body can do so much more than what you think it can do, and I think running is something that you can do for the rest of your life, and something that brings together people from all over the world, and it's something you can do anywhere, and it's just something that anyone can pick up, and it's something that just, I don't know, the need for speed, I guess. I love that. But yeah, what I hate about it is I don't like, that's with sports in general, I don't like how commercialized it became, like how much of a money factor is in there, and I don't like that. I don't like the I just don't like that kind of coaches that kind of like push you beyond what you're supposed to do, and that don't focus on, like, the sport itself is great. I just don't, I mean, of course, if like the lactic acid hits in and you're just like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Yep. But that's just part of the sport. Like, same if you play, say, baseball and you get hit by a baseball in the shins or something. Part of what happens. It's just part of what happens. Like, injuries happen. You're gonna trip over hurdles. You're gonna fall. You're gonna smack yourself in the head with a spear. It just happens. It's not something that, it's just your own fault if you do it. It's not something that you can hate about the sport.
I think in the past probably 10 to 15 years, at least in the States, running has become more prevalent. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see Nike, they put a lot of money into their running program. They put a lot of money into a running market, essentially, with their running shoes, running products, shorts, shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, whatever it may be. And I remember a couple of years ago, there was this high school girl in California. She got an offer from Nike's training regimen. Mm-hmm. They're like really big deals, like one of the top training places for running, I think, in the world. Mm-hmm. And she went up there to Portland and it literally just destroyed her mental health because the coaches weren't doing the right things. They were just too worried about the commercial aspect. So I think that's a good point you make there, especially in last probably 10 to 15 years. Yeah. Trying to get in that running market, because like you said, it's a very universal sport. I mean, it's not like lacrosse or American football or soccer or rugby. Yeah, it's very universal. Everyone knows how to run, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. It's very natural. It comes naturally to you. I love the history aspect of, like, say, marathons. Like, there's a lot of history behind it, a lot of tradition, and it's just a great sport.
It is. Now, you talk about marathons. Have you ever ran a marathon before?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. No, I don't run long distance. I do not. I want to run one day. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to run a marathon, like, for sure. But then I realized it requires me to actually run a marathon, which is a lot of kilometers, a lot of miles. So I don't know. One day I'm gonna do it for sure, but after I finish sprinting, because you got to focus on. You can't do both.
Yeah, you can.
You just can't do both.
I feel like that would be too much wear and tear on your body when you're trying to get into one rhythm and another. And
it's just the shape of your, like, if you train, there's fast twitch and slow twitch muscles. So, like, fast twitch muscles is what you need for speed, for, like, short term, energy. You can't have have both. Like you can't be a short sprinter, like a 100-meter sprinter, and at the same time be able to run for 2 hours straight. Like just you train your muscles either for endurance or for speed, or like for speed endurance, which is like what I do, like in 400s or 600s, or But anything past that, you gotta decide, because you can't have both. Like your muscles, you need to decide what aspect you train of your muscles. You can't do both. Your muscles aren't, they can't switch like this. It's gonna take a while to build up a specific either endurance pattern or fast twitch muscles. It just, you can't do both.
Okay. That actually brings me to my next question. You competed in track for a good while now. So what events do you normally run for track?
I started out as a multi-event person, which means I competed in indoor in 5 events and then outdoor in 7 events, which include some throwing events like the javelin, shot put, and then some running events like the 800, the 200, and then long jump, high jump, and 100-meter hurdles. And I was recruited to the US as a multi-event person, and then I injured my ankle like freshman year, and it wasn't treated properly, and it didn't heal properly, and so I kind of had some issues jumping. Couldn't jump really, like couldn't train jumping at least for a while, and my coach randomly put me in the 400, and I ran really well. I felt like that was my distance. So yeah, I ran that. I ran mostly 200s, 400s, indoor 600s, and some 800s. And now I was training for the 400 hurdles, but then the pandemic hit, so I never got to compete it. I really hope I get to compete it next season. That'd be really nice. So I've been training that and then focusing more on the 800. So
okay.
Yeah, mid-distance,
All right. So this actually brings me to one of my next points. So you touched on how you were recruited to the U.S. and how you were brought to the U.S. Very different recruiting process, at least here in the States, with high school kids in the States. A lot of coaches, they have access to going to these meets, they see these meets, stuff like that. So can you just bring us through the process of what it was like being an international kid getting recruited to the States and how that kind of went about?
It was very foreign to me. I had no idea how that whole process worked. I've only been in the U.S. to visit my family, but basically my family that I have here in Iowa, they're college professors, and so they kind of, when I visited them, I visited the college, and they were like, oh, you should really consider coming to college here. And my coach at home, her son went to the U.S. with a scholarship. So she recommended me to go look for, agencies that can get me into the U.S. And I looked at a bunch of different agencies, and I found my agency that just works really well for me. And they've been incredible. Like they help me right now with the transfer process, and they they are my promoting agency. So it sounds cooler than it actually is. They just I have a profile there, and they send out my videos, and they send out my PRs, and they contact coaches and kind of bring me in contact with coaches all over the US, and then the coaches will email me or call me or send me a message through my promoters and be like, hey, we're interested in having her on our team. And then you communicate directly with the coaches, which is what I'm doing right now. And then the agency just helps me with the whole process. Like they help me with the visa process and the application process and the school requirements like NCAA, NAIA requirements and that whole process. So the eligibility stuff, they handle that. Gotcha. And they've been incredible. It's called Scholar Book. So for any German athlete wanting to go to the US, they have a bunch of different sports, and they're incredible, and they're the reason I'm here, so all props to them. All
right. You touched on the NCAA and the NCIA, right?
NAIA.
NAIA, yeah. Okay. So I never heard of any, and I cannot say that.
NCAA and then NAIA. Those are 2 different divisions. So
I know NCAA.
Yeah.
That's what any college kid or any student or kid in the U.S. Everyone's heard of NCAA.
Yeah. That's basically the big one, the really good one. They are top level. They have D1, D2, and D3 schools. They're really, really well funded. It's usually big universities that have those.
Yep.
And then the NAIA is a little bit lower level. They have smaller colleges.
Gotcha.
We compete basically at D2 level. Like, we competed in some D1 meets, and it doesn't mean that they're per se worse athletes. It just means that they're less, like, I guess, funded less, if I can say that.
Funded less, recruited less, because...
Yeah, just it's a sort of a little bit of a, and I hope I don't step on anyone's toes here, but it's a little bit lower level, and usually for small colleges.
That makes sense.
So
I mean,
not for big universities.
I can see it, like, athletes getting under-recruited, and in professional sports, they'll find you, but when it comes to recruiting, it's just hard to find.
Yeah.
It's just hard to find.
Yeah.
That brings me to the NCAA, and like you said, you touched on it. So if you were to go to college in Germany and want to compete in athletics in Germany at that higher level, is there like a big organization like the NCAA in Germany, or how does that work there?
We have it's called the DLV. It's Deutscher Leichtathletikverband. It's basically the track and field, like how you have here USA Track and Field. We have the German Track and Field Association, which is like the Olympic Committee and the Olympic, the head organization for track and field. And so we basically compete for clubs. We don't really compete for, either we compete for a professional team or we compete for clubs, which all of our professional athletes still compete for their clubs, unless they compete for Team Germany in international competitions.
All right.
But yeah, they rarely, or they if they're sponsored by like Nike or Adidas or one of the big, New Balance, one of the big companies, then I guess they can run for them. But you always compete in clubs. You never really compete for any university.
Okay,
like,
so
ever.
you touched on that, competing for universities. Here in the States, it's very much, you're competing for the university. It's a lot of money into it. I mean, you see a lot of these, the NCAA makes a lot of money off of it. Television networks make a lot of money off of it. Everyone sees it except for the athletes, essentially.
Yeah.
But so you touched on that.
It.
So how does like just general athletics at the university level like really like work? You touched on it with the clubs and all that. So like, does it work the same way with soccer? Is it different in terms of other sports in Germany in terms of the university level? Is it just like all club sports or just professional?
All club sports. We do have some professional like basketball teams, and I guess we have a professional baseball team is what I heard. I don't know, but we do have like the most professional teams. The most popular ones are soccer for sure. Soccer, and it kind of takes over every other sport. Like soccer is so dominant that it kind of puts every other sport in the shadow, which is kind of sad. So they get all the funding. We don't. Track isn't that big. Like, they don't even really broadcast it.
Gotcha.
Anywhere, even the national championships, which happened last weekend. So like 2 days ago, they didn't even really broadcast that. There's a live stream, I think, but it's not very.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they barely report about it. I have some friends who competed in national championships, and I wanted to see them race, and I just couldn't because they didn't broadcast it anywhere, and it's really sad. And but yeah, so we have professional teams in basketball, like soccer, and I don't know,
Okay.
other teams, but I'm not too involved in other sports, so I'm like, I don't know.
All right. So came to the U.S. Recruited with through basically this agency, right? Where did you start running, like in the U.S. at? Like, what was the first place you started running for?
Columbia College.
Columbia College?
Yeah, I ran for Columbia College for, basically, it was supposed to be 4 years, but then the pandemic hit, so I competed my last indoor season about a year ago, last spring. That was the last season before the pandemic hit, and then everything was shut down. I was lucky enough to have an entire outdoor season in Germany because they postponed the outdoor season in Germany, and so I came home and could get right into the outdoor season. So, but first time I competed was in fall 2016 when I first came here, and then I ran for Columbia College until I graduated last year. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the pandemic. What was that like? Everyone everything was shutting down, the whole process. How was that like, just being a student athlete, just an athlete in general, just not knowing what's going on right now?
I mean, it was devastating because I actually think I had COVID when I competed my very last college meet because I was miserable, and it was right at the end of February, so like right before the pandemic hit. And it was devastating because we didn't have a senior season. We didn't get a senior athletic celebration of excellence. We didn't have graduation. We didn't get anything from the athletic department that said like, hey, thanks for competing for us, for almost 4 years. We didn't get any of the senior night or anything everyone else got. We got no like graduation senior presents or like swag or just anything, any memory things, that we could like put up on our wall and be like, oh, this is it. Like I won a couple awards. I didn't have any recognition for those awards. I was just handed to them in the office and be like, good job. And we didn't get anything like that. And it was really sad because you didn't really have closure. Like it was devastating. It was absolutely devastating. Like as an athlete, you were so proud for everything you accomplished, and you train every single day, and it means so, like for me, it meant the world to me, and the sport means the world to me. And it was just devastating because we didn't, I was miserable because, and a lot of other athletes that I know graduated, we were all just kind of like, well, that there it goes. Like we didn't even know that. The saddest part was that I competed my very last race, which I thought was my very last race in college, and I didn't even know it was my last race.
That's
like
what sucks.
Yeah, and I had COVID, so I could only compete one event, which was the 400, and I still won my heat and ran a seasonal PR, but I almost passed out afterwards because I was deadly sick. I was on antibiotics and I was deadly sick, and I couldn't even really enjoy my last meet and be like in that spirit of, this is my last meet, let's take a lot of pictures. It was just like, just one another meet.
And this is before like we even had testing to COVID, so
exactly.
You didn't even know you had COVID at that point.
I just thought it was a normal flu, or like not a flu, but like a normal, like just really severe month-long cold, and I never get those that long, so I don't know. Looking back on it, I probably had COVID. I'm pretty sure I had it, but it was just devastating because you didn't, you share so many memories with your team. I didn't get to say goodbye to most of my teammates. Like everyone had to leave campus really quickly. I was still stranded here, so I didn't really get to say goodbye to a lot of my teammates, and a lot of them became like family because you train together every single day. You go through these really intense moments together. You cheer each other on, and they meant so much to me, and I didn't get to say goodbye to a lot of them. And so that was one of the reasons why I decided to come back to the US, because I was like, I'm not done here yet. I'm not done with the city and with the sport and with I haven't had that, that sport has been part of my life for so long, and I'm not letting it end like that. I owe so much to the sport. I owe way more to it than it deserves a better ending than what it had. I was like, I'm not, I don't accept that. And so I'm glad I didn't, because right now I'm doing really well, and
that's good.
Glad I didn't.
That's good. You touched on it, how basically everyone had to leave campus really quick. It was just a lot of chaos, craziness going on, and you touched on it. You were stranded here, so just take me through like I think everyone remembers that first week when everything just started shutting down, getting kicked off, like schools, everything. So just take me through what happened that basically those first couple days, that week or whatever, where everything just went to shit, so to say.
That's a good way to put it. I remember we had our first outdoor practice of the year, and it was a beautiful day. I just recovered from, being deadly sick. We put up the hurdles, and I had a fantastic hurdle session. Like, just to me, with my journey with hurdles, I tore my shoulder pretty badly 2 years ago. Had kind of like, had severe anxiety of hurdles. Like it was so traumatic that I was just like, I'm so scared I'm gonna fall again. And I ended up starting to just force myself to go over them again. And so it was the first outdoor practice, and it was a beautiful day, and everyone was so hyped, like, for outdoor season, and everyone was I remember posting on Instagram about my last meet, and I was like, hey, this is like such a special meet to me. Like, I was sick, so I couldn't run what I wanted to, but that only gets me more excited for outdoor. And did I know what was going to happen a week later? No, but I basically, it was the first outdoor practice of the year, and it was absolutely beautiful, and I had a fantastic hurdle session. I was like, man, I'm so hyped for outdoor season. This is going to be so great. And then a week later, they were like, I remember them talking about the strain. It was like, oh yeah, there's this like thing in China, and we were like, okay, we're in the US, that's far away, you know.
Yeah.
And then it kind of started. I don't even remember what it's like before COVID, honestly. This is so odd to say that, but I bet a lot of people feel like that. I don't remember. I just remember it was so overwhelming. Everyone was just like, oh yeah, this and that. And then I remember as athletes, there was a hashtag going around of like, hashtag Corona season or something, that we would get that season back as athletes. And I remember I was in the mindset that I was going to get an additional year because everyone got it. And my coach apparently was not on the same boat. He didn't know. And so he gave my scholarship away, and I was forced to graduate, and I lost my spot on the team. And I was just very heartbroken because I was like, this is just not fair. This is just why me? Like, this is so not fair. And we had just what I was gonna say. So the first week I don't even remember, to be honest. I don't remember what happened. I just remember we had the last outdoor practice, and then suddenly they canceled practice, and that suddenly they were like, I remember them telling us, and NCAA canceled all the outdoor season, and everyone was pretty pissed, but we were like, why? Like, why can't we compete? This is ridiculous. And then I don't remember if I think they switched all the classes to online. And then at one point we had one case on campus, I think, one confirmed case, and everyone was like, oh my God, the deadly virus is on campus. Oh my God, it's in Colombia. And then everyone was forced to leave campus within literally 2 days. Wow. And it was only me and probably 30 to 50 other international students who were still there. And everyone just left campus with it. It was literally like, imagine you have just like a pile of cockroaches on the floor, and then you shine a light on it, and everyone just goes, pew, scatters away. Yeah. That's how it was. This campus was empty within 2 days. Everyone just was gone. And they put us all in one residence hall, and they had a big meeting with all of us international students, and we're like, well, we can pay for you to fly back to your home country. It's just in Europe, for me, it was so bad that I couldn't fly back. I was like, if I fly back, there's no way they're going to let me back into the US. Yeah. My visa, as soon as I leave the country, as soon as I graduate, I cannot come back into the US, so I'm not risking that. That's ridiculous. And plus, it's very unsafe. Like, me traveling through, being in 5 different planes and everything, my parents are high risk. I was like, I'm not doing that, so I decided to stay. And a lot of other students, like for example in Spain, they couldn't even enter the country. Yeah. Like, everybody was like, the whole country was on lockdown, so they were forced to stay in the US. And then they provided us with some sanitary packages and stuff and some food, but we didn't. They closed the cafeteria. We didn't get money for food or anything. We didn't get anything really. They just kind of abandoned us. And then at one point when we had that case on campus, they were like, you have to leave campus. And I'm like, but I can't. I don't have money to stay anywhere. Yeah. So I was literally basically homeless or forced to return to my home country, which I could not do. Again, my visa would have run out. So I was like, I can't do that. And I was lucky enough to be able to live with a friend. I lived with her for a couple of months, and then I eventually made the decision in mid-June when her lease ran out that she's an international student as well. We both made the decision, okay, we gotta go now. So
Gotcha. That sounds like crazy wild time.
It all happened just so quickly.
I think, yeah. I mean, I remember that week of school, literally, I think it was the Wednesday night I was working, and my manager said, the NBA just shut down everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, they stopped playing one of the games, and at halftime called the game.
Oh my God.
Halftime called the game. There was another one, one of the players tested positive, and this is before the game. Everything's supposed to be out. People already paid for tickets. This is pregame, and the announcer said, one of the players tested positive. Please exit the building calmly and safely. Like, it was.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that happened. I was like, what the heck is going on? It was all over social media, and we were just dead at work. And we were like looking at what's going on.
I was just so mad because I talked to other athletes here, and some other like German athletes, of course, we were like, hey, what are you doing? And you know, they were at Mizzou and I was here, and I don't want to call them out or anything, but like, of course we conversed. We were like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so most of them just, some of them were like, oh, I'm not doing that whole mask thing. That's ridiculous, blah, blah. And then I saw a lot of people just partying, like just literally college students just partying in huge, like people, like of like 200 people parties. And I'm like, are you insane? You're the reason why I don't have a graduation. You're the reason why I don't have a senior season. Like, it doesn't affect you, but it affects me, and it affects a lot of other people.
I think a lot of college kids thought they were invincible to it because, you know,
because they're like, oh, it's just so, like, the news are so polarized in the U.S. that it was literally a political issue whether you believed in COVID or not, which is ridiculous. Yeah. It's scientific proof that there's virus. Like, it's not like, oh, like, you have a headache. Oh yeah, I don't believe you have that. You know, it's just
And then they brought the statistic of, you know, it's more high risk for people who are older, people who, you know, immunocompromised. So I guess it kind of put in the head of college because it's like, oh, if I'm healthy and I'm young, I'm fine if I get it. And it's like,
no, you
may be fine, but
you don't know.
You don't know like, how it's going to affect you in the long run. You put other people at risk.
That's the thing. Like, especially as athletes, it's a respiratory disease, right? Especially as a track athlete, you shouldn't be like, oh, I'm not wearing masks. This is stupid. I'm like, just if your sport is that important to you, if your health is that important to you, I mean, as an athlete, especially as a track and field athlete, there's barely any other sport where you need your respiratory system as much as in running.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm sorry, but that is just absolutely stupid, and it's ridiculous because A, it's a respiratory disease, and why would you not want to protect yourself from getting that, and possibly I mean, it's a new disease, so you don't know what it's going to do with you in the long run. You don't know if it can, like, affect your lungs for the rest of your life, if it can affect, like, there's reports on, like, memory loss, and I mean, I had it, and I'm pretty sure I had it. I didn't get a gene test or anything, but because at that time, you know, there weren't any COVID tests, but I'm pretty sure I still have long-term effects from it. Yeah. Like, I still have memory loss sometimes, and short-term memory loss, and just I'm pretty sure that came from COVID. I still have like a lower ability to taste things and smell things, and I just don't understand it, why people are so stupid and so, like, careless and ignorant to it.
I mean, we saw that a lot in the fall semester in Columbia in general. Yeah, it was.
I wasn't here, so I don't know what.
There was.
I just heard about a lot of parties.
It was a mess. Let's just say that. I could rant on that for about an hour, so I'll save you that.
Should make another episode about that.
Literally, it was just a mess. You know, got to basically, we're getting back to normalcy to a point right now with COVID and everything. So let's just bring it into this past semester.
The new normal.
Yeah, the new normal. So, what? When did you come back to Columbia? You said you got back you went back in June, right?
Yeah. So
when did you come back?
I went back home to Germany in mid-June, and then I spent a couple of about 3 months there. And then everything was shut down. You couldn't train. No gyms were open. Even the tracks were closed, which was ridiculous. And they had, like, very, very strict restrictions because it was so deadly in Europe. And basically, I was no longer a track and field athlete. I was a park and field athlete, because literally we would run in parks. We would do hurdle mobility over. And I kid you not, we had these, like, the things where you put your bikes in, right?
Bike rack?
Bike rack, yes.
We did bike racks?
We did hurdle training over bike racks. I wish we would have filmed that, because I should have, like, vlogged my training, because it was insane. Like, we did that, and we would, like, just run on, like, anywhere, and it was so crazy. Like, the regulations were so harsh, and I do understand it, but it was devastating for us, because you had to, like, it's hard enough to push yourself through a really tough training. It is basically you need the amount of motivation you need to get yourself up and do your own training. And you were only allowed to train with one other person. So like either with your coach alone or with a teammate. And so since our coach didn't want to be like, couldn't be out there with every single athlete in our team and train singular, that's not humanely possible. He would send us the workouts and I would do it with one of my teammates. And that was very, that was basically what got me through the pandemic, is having a workout buddy and being able to at least do the workout somewhere. But it was so, I have a whole new appreciation for being able to go to a gym, being able to go to a track. We would literally, I hope German police isn't listening to this, but we would literally not break into the track, but like jump the fence just to do a track workout for like an hour. And then I don't think they would have said something because it's like, physical exercise. But anyways, we weren't allowed to go outside really unless you were exercising or meeting one other person from your own household. So like the regulations were so strict that at one point I decided to visit some friends in Portugal who were training there, and Portugal was really more lenient about the restrictions. And so I made that decision because I got to go to the gym and I got to run on actual tracks, and it was really good weather. So I spent most of my winter there, and then I got to go to a height training camp. And so I did everything not to be in Germany.
Gotcha.
And then I got my visa, and then I quickly, in like beginning of January, I quickly came back to the US and started training here again.
All right. So we met in the run club. At the Mizzou Run Club?
Yes, we did.
So when did you start running with the Mizzou Run Club?
I basically contacted them in last fall when I decided to go to Mizzou. So I knew that there was a running club because I wanted to walk onto the Mizzou track team, and I talked with the coaches for about a year, and then they basically told me that they don't have any, like 2 weeks into the new semester, they basically told me that they can't take me for whatever reasons, I guess financial reasons because of the pandemic. Everyone else got a sixth year. So like they were they had a lot of just COVID restraints, and then a lot of issues with funding for the existing athletes that they had, so they can't really take walk-ons. So they were like, you have to hit the standards, but there were no meets for me to compete in because without a university team, you weren't allowed to compete because of the pandemic. So like everything was literally against me, and I was like, I can't hit the standards without competing in meets, but I can't compete in meets because A, there are no meets that are open for anyone, and B, I can't just be on a university team because for that I need to hit the standards. For it's a vicious cycle. Like there was no way for me to get onto the team without being on the team, which doesn't make sense, but that's just the way it was. And again, due to the pandemic, and then I ended up just searching for, I knew there was a running club, and I have some friends on the team who told me, hey, just go, there's really motivated people on the running club. There's people that tried out for the team, they just for whatever reason didn't get on, and so there's people that are really motivated and really good, and you should just try out. So I reached out to them in fall. I intended to come back to Columbia to start at Mizzou in fall, but that didn't work out because of the pandemic. So I started in spring. I deferred for one semester. I got in fall, but I deferred for one semester. And just contacted them again when I came back, and they were like, there's no practices allowed right now, and so you just but there's a group of like friends that
friends who run.
Exactly, so that's part of, it's like over 10 steps I got into that, and I found the best running buddies, including you, the best running buddies that I have had. Like in competitive sports, especially in the US, it is sometimes the team mentality is super competitive. Because essentially you're pinned against each other because you're competing for money and for the best spot on the team and the best benefits and the best treatment of the coach and whatnot, but you're told to be a team, so it's like kind of contradictory. So there's a lot of toxic just things going on at the team, and I was really good friends with the guys. It's just the rest of the team kind of didn't really get along, I feel like it. So coming to the running club was so incredible because I finally had that supportive team that I always wished for, kind of like. So that was, I'm very grateful for that, and that's kind of like throughout the pandemic I thought about quitting a lot. I was just like, maybe I should just be done, like this is just ridiculous, why am I doing this, like where am I going? I don't even know if we're gonna have any meets this year or next year, like why am I even doing this? And my running buddies basically got me through that. Gotcha. Because we motivated each other, and we were like, hey, let's do the workout because we know it just feels good and we enjoy it, and you know, we gotta kind of keep up the routine. Like without track, my routine would have gone to, pardon my French, absolute shit. Like I would have not done anything with my day because, you know, there's nothing to do. You know, so
and that's what I like about the Mizzou Run Club is like everyone's like, yes, we're all human, we're all gonna be competitive and everything, but like everyone's like cheering on each other.
Oh my god,
we got all kinds of different runners. We got, you know, legit track people. We have people like me who just run for fun. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that does it in jeans.
It still blows my mind. For everyone listening and wondering, he did 10 miles in jeans.
Did do 10 miles in jeans.
I have a photo to prove it. I barely survived 10 miles in running shorts, and he did that in jeans. So
in jeans, yeah.
If they don't make that like a meme, I don't know.
But like, I just like the different like kind of like running backgrounds we see in everybody. How everyone's like, oh, it's like I'm not better than you, or you know, anything like that. It's because I'm a track runner or because I'm a cross country runner. It's more of like, you know, when we did the 400s and I believe the 800 too, it was very much like cheering you on. Like I never done any of this, so like, you know, y'all helped me out and like, oh, this is what you're kind of like shooting for. This is like a distance.
Yeah, this is how you can mentally prepare for the race.
Yeah, everyone was, you know, giving tips on stretching, just, you know, how to pace yourself, and I think that's just really good at the end of the day too. That like kind of camaraderie, even though like we weren't like teammates, but we were all friends.
Yeah, and we felt like a team, honestly, because I had literally people showing up because I was like, I kind of really want to do, because I didn't do well at one. I got my second COVID vaccine, and so that day we had another running like time trial, and so I didn't do too well because I got the COVID vaccine and I felt kind of crappy. So I was like, okay, I kind of really want to do another time trial, and so it ended up I just needed one person to pace me, and it ended up like so many people some people that I didn't even know showed up at the running club because they were like, oh, some girl's doing a time trial, so like we're just gonna go ahead and support her. And that atmosphere is just so sweet. It's just something that I never really like found in my undergrad. Like I cherished the experience, and there are some friends that I became really close with, but I think sometimes the competitive nature of it was preventing us from being supportive of each other and genuinely wanting each other to succeed. Because if somebody else succeeds, that's kind of like, you know, your spot is taken away. Or if they get, you know, new book supplies, you are not getting that because the money goes towards them. So like, it's kind of, you never knew what was genuine and what was not. So it was kind of sad, because I feel like you need supportive teammates, because after all, yes, it's an individual sport, but after all, it's, if you work as a team, you need to push each other. If you push each other, I thrive under that, and I'm someone I want to support, and I get so excited if other people succeed in the same, like, you know. So like at home, in my track meets that we did, kind of like we all compete at the same, there's only a few clubs, so we all compete. If you compete the same distance over a couple of years, you kind of get to know the people that you compete against, and you compete against the same people. And so they were so supportive. Like that outdoor season was one of the best outdoor seasons I've ever had, solely because of the people that I got to compete with. I don't say against, because we were literally in it together, and we were so excited for each other. And yes, I still wanted to beat them, but we would warm up together, and we would cheer on each other, and we would like literally be calm each other down before races. And it's just that is the most beautiful thing about sports.
All right, I think. And that brings me to one of my last points. You know, going towards running, what's your future goals of running right now?
Our coach made us, a while ago, before the pandemic and everything happened, he he gave us a little ceramic piece. Just a little ceramic plate where we should write on with a Sharpie what our goal is, and if we manage it, we should smash it on the ground. Like if we beat that, we reach that goal. And it was funny because I wrote something on it. I can grab it real quick.
All right.
So most people wrote distances or times that they wanted to run, and I was basically the only one who wrote something else on it. I said, I want to surprise myself and be proud of me. I want to go to every race with bravery and heart and dedication, and enjoy competing with this team and loving every moment that I can, never forgetting why I started to run and why I continue. And my coach was like, well, that's not really feasible. You need a goal. And so I was like, well, that is my goal. And then, that's still my goal. I wanna be the best runner that I can be. I want to develop as much as I can be. I want to, when it comes to the actual events, for example, I want to compete the 400 hurdles. I want to compete it really well. I want to break the minute in the 400. I want to run a PR in the 800. I really want to work on my form. I want to have really, really good form, and I want to be really strong and versatile and healthy. That's one of my main goals. I want to be really, really healthy, and then I want to just work a lot on my mental strength. That's mostly the sport for me is 90% mental, and that's probably my biggest goal, is to develop the mental strength to go into the race and remember just those moments when the best races are the ones where you don't even remember you were racing, when you don't think, you just go, and it's a feeling of just you've given you all. And that's kind of where I want to get to, because I had a lot of anxiety, maybe because of all the pressure of going into a race. I would literally be shaking and be so scared to compete, and I literally want that fire back of man, I love competing and I love going out there and I love just giving in my all, and I know that I did well and I want to come in first, and I'd love to make it to nationals or run a PR or win a meet, especially with the relay. That's just and get to compete in as many races as I can, and get to really, really enjoy every single race that I do. That's my main goal. Yeah.
All right.
But time wise, basically run a really good PR. Run what I think I can do and what my coaches tell me that I can do. That's something. And really surprise myself in, oh my God, I just did that. I knew I could do it, but I knew I could do it.
And you crush it.
I crush it. Yeah. Exactly. Nailed it.
All right.
That's what I want to do.
All right. Any advice to people who are thinking about getting into running, whether it just be for fun or competing?
Just start.
Literally
every journey, this is so cheesy, but every journey starts with a single step. If you think you can't run, just go on a 5-minute run. The 5-minute run, go on a 1-minute run. Go on a walk around the block, and then speed walk, and then start running. Literally just start and continue to do it. Yeah. And if you run for 5 minutes each day, 5 times 7, that's 35.
Yeah.
It's 35 minutes a week that you ran. And here's the thing about running, as soon as you start, time is gonna fly by. If you set yourself a goal, you're gonna run for remember when we went on these 1-hour runs and
we didn't even realize it was an hour. We were it's about 20 minutes have passed, and
Find a running buddy. That's the best part. That's the best way. Find some nice trails to run on. Go run early in the morning. Oh my God, get your ass up and run in the morning. It's going on a morning run is so.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm not. This comes from the least morning person that you'll ever meet in your life. I just do not function in the morning, and I still roll myself out of bed and go on morning runs. It's just the bond you can develop with people that you run with. Find someone to run with. That's big. If you lack motivation, just start. Just literally just start. Go on a 5-minute run, and then go on a 10-minute run, and then go on a 15-minute run, and just set yourself some goals. And I would recommend getting a running watch because it tracks your process and it holds you accountable, and maybe write down if you journal, I don't know, if you put it in your phone, hey, I ran 5 minutes today, hey, I ran 10 minutes today, and you're gonna see progress, and you're gonna see progress really, really fast. Faster than you will expect it.
I mean, I saw it really fast. When I started running, I literally just went a mile at a time, and I wasn't like, straight mile right at the get-go. Like, I would take, like, okay, got down this hill, after climbing this hill, walk for, like, a good, like, 25 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
And I saw results really quick. I was able to do that mile like that within a month.
Exactly. Like, when I started in the pandemic, like, me as a sprinter, we never used to warm up. Like, we never used to run a lot for warm-ups. We would, like, force ourselves to go through 2 laps. And then I started noticing that if I warmed up for a longer time, I would just feel way better prepared, and I would feel less rusty, I guess, especially if it's cold outside. So I started doing, like, a mile for warm-up, and in the beginning, I was dead. I was like, who does a workout after a freaking mile of running? And now it just comes a natural that I just run a mile for warm-up, and I don't even think about it, and it's not even exhausting. So you are going to see results. Just start. You literally just need to go start. Like, there's not a right time to start something, to start running. Like, there's not, you can literally run anywhere. You don't need any equipment besides running shoes. You can go run barefoot on the beach if you have a beach. You can run. I used to compete barefoot in elementary school until they threatened to disqualify me if I don't wear shoes. And I was fast. So you can literally run anywhere, anytime, any day. Just start.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being the first official guest.
Woo.
It's really cool, interesting story, just hearing your background, hearing what happened in the COVID season, just everything in general. It's pretty fun interview to do. Not gonna lie, really fun. Thank you.
I enjoyed it too. I like talking a lot. So
anything you want to shout out? Instagram, Twitter, anything?
Yeah. If you wanna, I mean, my Instagram is basically solely track. I put on my track workouts for all my running buddies. We kind of do that all the time. So if you want to follow me, it's Tess and then Elina _7. And that's like my only social media. Yeah, but I put running workouts on there, and I do. Running motivation is great too. Like, if you need some running motivation videos, just watch some motivation videos. It fuels your passion, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I just want to pay tribute to the sport because it really saved my life in a lot of ways, and it's something that that anyone can start at any time. And I will say this again, anyone can start running at any time.
Yep.
If you have 2 legs, or if you have two working legs that you can walk on, you can run. Even if it's slower than a herd of turtles stamping through peanut butter, you still run.
At least it's the thing.
I heard that meme somewhere, and I'm like, I run. Slower than a herd of turtles stamping through peanut butter, but I run. I'm like, that is, yeah. Just one foot in front of the other.
One foot in front of the other. Just keep on. It's just like keep on swimming. Just keep on running.
Keep on swimming. Just keep on running. Just one lap at a time. You can always do one more lap.
Yep. This is. Thank you for listening. This will close out episode 10 of the Payne Report. Next episode, I will unfortunately be by myself, but I will be diving into a new topic of professional wrestling. It will be about Jeff Hardy. So that is it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, again, Tess, for being on. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Hope everyone has a great